Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. Happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well on this wonderful San Diego Comic-Con weekend. Lots of stuff to talk about in regards to San Diego Comic-Con, but that's going to come up tomorrow and on Sunday. Today is all about the Transformers, and the big question is this really that much better than the X-Transbots? I'm going to give you the pluses, minuses, my full take on this figure so far, this Turbo Windcharger figure that we are going to be getting from Fanstoys, and I'm going to tell you how far along I think it is, how close I think it is in a timeline, and, well, the discussion about mini-bots. We got to finish the mini-bots. And then definitely got to get into comparisons. There's several things to compare it to, not just X-Transbots. There's some more coming up! Alright, so let's look at the pictures here. So there's different types of pictures that Fanstoys put out for this reveal. And this picture, which is showing all the different angles, is a render picture. Noticing that it's a render because you don't see a few of the things that I'm going to point out when we look at the actual prototype, that they included the prototype pictures also, which is very good. I'm impressed. It's showing that they're further along with this project than most of us knew. But I want to point this out. I've been saying this is one of the top 5 figures that needs to get redone or needs to be done by Fanstoys. You know, you've got this. You've also got some of the headmasters that Fanstoys should get to, and other ones out there. But this one really was kind of everybody's top of mind, top of list. And does it deliver? Well, I think it will look a little better than X-Transbots. Will it work a little better, X-Transbots? I hope so. We don't know yet. See, that's the thing. We all assume. And you know what happens when you assume? So we assume it's going to work better. But the overall look of it is pretty nice also. So let's get into the actual prototype. How do I know that this is not an actual render and it's a prototype? You can see the scan lines on the chest. You can see that that's the 3D printed scan lines, and that's how they do things. I mean, it's the way most companies are doing this stuff these days, and with that, there's a couple of smooth areas there, but you see all of the pinholes, you see screws, pinholes, and everything. That's reality versus just looking at a render. And so with that, you know this is a prototype. I just want to point that out. We all know it's a prototype, but looking at it, it does look pretty good. It does look like it's going to have relatively good articulation. It looks like it's going to match the character, which we are about to check this out, versus the Sunbow. So we're gonna check that out versus the character. We're also going to pull the old G1 off, dust off the old G1, and do a comparison. But with that, it does look pretty good. Let's go ahead and get like another angle that they give us on this one. Is this one here also the prototype? Yes. And you can look and see they use different materials. You know, the knees are made of different type of plastic than the thighs and all the rest of the lower leg. But the thing I want to point out here is they usually showcase the die-cast. They go out of the way to showcase what is die-cast. I'm not seeing the die-cast in this. I'm not saying it doesn't have it. I'm just saying that they're not showcasing it. It's one of the things that they usually do is showcase the die-cast. And in this kind of gray, you would see a bit of a shininess to what would be die-cast. And they probably aren't that far along yet. They haven't gotten far enough to cast the die-cast pieces just yet. That's just my opinion. And you can kind of see he's got a bit of a backpack, but I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's a horrible backpack. But there's a lot of stuff being put into those lower legs. And, you know, when we get to it, it's the feet. Like, does it really have feet? It doesn't really have feet, but, you know, again, does the character really have feet? But let's look at the alt mode, and we're going to do all these comparisons again. We're going to look at all this again next to other figures, and they're going for a more of a cartoon look, and I'm A-okay with that. Now, this is going to be a problem for some people. So maybe if you already have the X-Transbots and you get this for the bot mode, then you put your X-Transbots into the alt mode. You'd be satisfied with the real world alt mode. But for me personally, I mean, I would prefer this alt mode. So we'll do that comparison here in just a bit. We got one more alt mode picture to look at. Now, I'm not a huge fan of opening doors unless the character itself requires. Now, what does that mean? Well, Prowl and, all the Dotson brothers, they got to have opening doors because that's going to turn into the wings that are on the back. That makes sense. This figure didn't have it, so why does it have opening doors? It's extra additional engineering for no reason. But maybe when we get to transforming it, we'll understand why they have that additional engineering. It'd be interesting to see. But looking at it, I think it looks fantastic. The alt mode is pretty close to spot on. So let's just go ahead and slide right into doing a quick comparison to the X-Transbots. All right, so here's the picture I got of the X-Transbots on the left. I'm probably going to be very inconsistent with what's where, but we all know which one's the Fanstoys. And the X-Transbots one looks really good in the alt mode as a real-world vehicle. So again, all of the real-world vehicle buffs are going to be very satisfied with the X-Transbots in the alt mode. Well, maybe not very satisfied. People probably still complain about it somehow, some way. There's a lot of X-Transbots haters out there. But again, I want the one that is most cartoon. And, cartoon is where it's at for me. And you can blame me. All right, I'm single-handedly. Hold on a second. Mike from Tidarium Hanger, is single-handedly responsible for the fact that all of these things are starting to get cartoon alt modes. It's my fault because I've been here for 7 years talking about it, saying this is what I want, and I put my wallet behind it. I have this pre-order at Shozy Store, TH in the support your viewer on the main page if you want to help the channel out, but $30 down, and so when it comes in, it's going to cost me like 70, 80. I don't know. It's going to be 100, 109, something like that. It's usually what they run for the mini bots from the Fanstoys. And with that, I think it's a win in the alt mode, but it just depends on your preference. You may still think X-Transbots wins. Now for the money shot, that's probably going to be the clickbait shot. I got to do what I got to do. Guy's got to do what he's got to do here. I do believe Fanstoys wins when you compare it straight up against the Sunbow, the animation. Now, I didn't dig through animation and find an animation cell. In fact, the character doesn't show up much in the series, so it's a little hard to get a full body shot. It's always hard getting the full body shots, if you know what I mean. But looking over here, on the left is X-Transbots, and then that's their first version. And so before we go any further, I'm going to hope I remember this. I did this in editing. I'm going to move over and put the cartoon version, so we give them the benefit of the doubt. Now, I have the first version, not the cartoon version, and I gotta say this. When X-Transbots went from the silver legs and all that kind of stuff to make it more cartoon, I like more cartoon, but something about this feels cheap to me. I don't know how to explain it. Now, this would be more fun if there was some colors, a digibash or something. I'm sure someone's done a digibash so that the Fanstoys doesn't look so plain. But it matches closer to what they did before. Now, he's got higher shoulders. He's actually wider in the waist, but still kind of more heroic kind of design for the Fanstoys over there on the right. But my biggest problem is how everyone does the feet. Now, the feet for X-Transbots, you got two folding tabs that fold out. They break, they're floppy. That is problematic with the figure. And on the right, you don't have that problem because they don't exist. So he's just basically resting on his shins. His shins turn into feet. It's a no feet guy, no foot. But if you look at the actual animation, the shins curve, which won't really exactly translate over into the car mode. So, I mean, that's a challenge. It's a problem if Fanstoys went the way they went with it, and it looks extremely kibbly on the inside, the back. So does X-Transbots. So it's right there. That's really my only nitpick, I would say, for the Fanstoys figure is the feet. The foot area, I think it could have been redone a little bit different, but at the end of the day, I don't want 10 more steps in the transformation, so I'm fine with it. Is it better than X-Transbots? Yes, in the bot mode. It matches the animation better. Yes. Will it work better? I hope so. Now let's bring in the G1. Now this is kind of one of the problems we have with Transformers in G1, and I just watched a video where somebody's really upset about G1 being in Studio Series, and so of course I chimed in, but G1 is here to stay in Studio Series for a while. But that was a lot of fun. I like watching offshoot videos where people are talking about stuff like that. That's always fun too. But looking at the G1, the actual G1, the real G1, the real deal. And so what they did was they took the original toy, they made it look cooler to be on the screen, and then we are getting now, 40 years later, we're getting figures that represent the better looking animation models than the actual toys. And that's exactly where we want to be right now. You know, it's exactly where we all want to be. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. And yes, Fanstoys look better than the original vintage toy. But I want to say that the animation model got rid of the wheels on the sides of the lower legs, and a lot of things are just different from the animation model and adds a lot of complexity. How far out is this? I don't really know. There's no real set time frame. I don't even think like the likes of TF Source. I just was on TF Source. I didn't see it. I might have missed it. But I don't think like TF Source or Chosen Prime or any of the U.S. outlets, Agabus, I don't think they have this up for pre-order just yet. But I'm also a bit curious because this thing looks like it's pretty far along. And with that, I would expect to see this within a year to year and a half. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't if it's already this far along. I think this is further along than a lot of the projects that are 7 years old. So it's interesting how far they've come with it. But see, that in itself is why mini-bots are so lucrative. You know, they're a lower price point. They usually hit 100, 109, 110, maybe nowadays at most 120. And they fill a gap that's necessary and needed. And they look great. And if this is painted head to toe, got some die cast in them, it's going to be win, 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 win. And with that, it's a quick development in relative terms. In relative terms, compared to all the other figures that are getting made, it's a relatively quick development. One and done, boom, boom, boom. It doesn't have to combine with anything. So with that, I can see it pretty quick. I mean, 2026, probably. Maybe at latest mid-2027. So I expect this to come pretty soon. Now, what are you going to do with your X-Transbots? Again, you have a couple of options. If you already have the X-Transbots one, you can put it in the alt mode and enjoy your real world alt mode. Or you could keep it in bot mode and put your Fanstoys in alt mode. Or you can sell it. Now, I got to tell you this. Once the Fanstoys comes out, the price is probably going to plummet on the X-Transbots version. Alright, so looking at the X-Transbots, they're sold out on, well, Show Z Store is sold out. The lowest prices always sell out. So we've got them over at good old TF Source for $89.99, so $90 for the cartoon version, not the Silver Legs version. And then you can get the pair for with this one and, is it Tailgate? Which always blows my mind that that's called Tailgate. It's not a truck, but is it Tailgate? Boost and Hatch, and that's $160. If you want to go over there, no TH reviewer code for TF Source, unfortunately. And then here we go with eBay. So you can get them as cheap as $30 plus some shipping, $60 plus some shipping, $100, and so people, I guess, think it's worth some money. Hey, if you want to unload yours, I'd say do it now before the Fanstoys one comes. I'm not going to be unloading mine because I promised it to my son. So that's what, when I get my Fanstoys, do the comparison video, and it's his. So that's how I'm going to do mine, and I'm doing a lot of that these days, hand-me-downs to my son instead of selling my Transformers. And he's really loving it, and that's how I'm doing it. You might do the same thing. I mean, suggestion there to you. But there it is. That's where it's at. I expect when Fanstoys releases there to be 60 of them, all pushing the $30 to $50 range. And this is the last Hasbro one I've seen. Maybe I missed a release, but I'm just going to leave this up here as I close out this video. But what do you guys think about Fanstoys' new Windcharger that's turbo? I don't think they're going to repaint it into a GoBot, but do you think it's better than X-Transbots? Does it look better than X-Transbots? Are you excited for it? If you have X-Transbots, does this character mean so little to you that you're not going to bother upgrading? Because that really is actually a thing. And how many of you, be honest, are rocking a Power of the Primes, the one you got for $10, and said that's good enough? But I'm curious in the comments below what everybody thinks about this, and what other mini-bots do you want to see from Fanstoys or underrepresented everywhere else. Don't say Ollie. I mean, wheelie. Like, subscribe to Deer Hanger out.